reason a couple people had to get up and leave was to go fix their windows, I assume. Yeah, I was taught in Catholic school that St. Paul told us to be grateful in all things, not necessarily for all things when they come streaming in the back of our car, right? So we are continuing this month being pulled by a vision. It requires us being pulled by a vision to become practitioners with or without a license. There is a great deal of trust in following a vision. There must be a great deal of faith. And so for those who step onto this spiritual path, there's also got to be moments of what the heck have I done? Why am I here and why am I doing this to myself? And that's okay. Just because we have the uh-oh moments, and yes, I cleaned that up, doesn't mean that we don't have faith. Without doubt, there is no great faith. I wish I could remember who said that first, but I'm claiming it now. Yesterday, when we were having our beautiful celebration of our practitioners, not just the newbies, but the people who have been doing this 10, 15, 35 years, when we were doing that, I am told there were a few tech problems. As the new comes into our life, we're gonna have to roll with it. As the new comes into our life, we're gonna have to find a way to bless it. We're gonna have to find a way to say, okay, well, that happened. I didn't know it. I didn't know most of what was going on because our tech team is that good. Our music is that good. And our practitioners are that powerful. I liken having a tech team over there. I'm about to, I love you guys, and don't take this promotion to Godheadness as permanent. This is for the moment you are representing the divine. I'm not trying to kick you out of your job. When I was up here doing the love and celebration part, the law was at work making sure that people could hear it. The law for us, for those of you who don't know, is what we call the law of cause and effect. Cause is what some people call God. It is the principle of life that is behind all manifested things. Everything physical in this world, everything you have ever experienced, began as an idea in the mind of God. It was then, we believe, kind of filtered through our personal beliefs, filtered through our fears, filtered through our joys and our trust and our desires. And all of that was made manifest at the physical level. All of that is now what you see before you. Some of it we like, some of it we will not be ordering again. How's that? We may not send it back to we might even send it back to the kitchen, yeah? I used to play a game with my dad where we would go to a restaurant where we couldn't read the menu because it wasn't in English and just point to different parts of it. To me, that's the taste of vacation now. I may not like what I end up ordering, but I tried it. What the heck? Turns out you put enough garlic and butter on something, even snails taste good. So when we get on this spiritual path, what we know, the only thing we truly, truly know with a capital K is that God is, and God is all there is. In Deuteronomy, it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength." That is one culture's way of saying God is all there is, and when we focus on the divine being, the pure and perfect divine being, everything down here at the level of effect begins to reflect that divine being more accurately, because that's what we're looking for. That's what we choose to see, yes? Now, I came to you, God, it must have been this month, and talked about what it's like to live with major depressive disorder. And I talked about it in my own experience as it doesn't mean you're broken, it doesn't mean you're bad, it doesn't even make you a bad religious scientist. It means that my superpower is that I know better than to believe everything I think. Yeah? So to me, that can be flipped over and made a blessing. And once I got to that part and got honest about it, all of a sudden, all of the ways that I could get help showed up. The ways that other people were telling me were not open to people who live in Prescott were suddenly very easily available to me for like $10 an hour. It was redonkulous. Not because I'm better at this stuff, and not just because I've been doing it longer, but because I know the same thing that part of you already knows, or you would not be here today. Pause for emphasis. There is a part of you that already knows that the life within you is sacred. There is a part of you that already knows that if you will keep your eyes, if thine eye be single, thy body will be filled with light. I happen to have a personal covenant. That's my deal with God, the God of my understanding. And the piece of wisdom that I have attached to it, one of the two, is if thine eye be single. If thy third eye, if thy eyes are both working toward looking at God and only God, good and only good, spirit in its purest form, my body is filled with light, and what goes on around me, what gets said about me or to me, becomes way secondary. If I am right with God, if I am what the Judeo-Christian tradition calls self-righteous, self with a capital S, not the icky, uptight type of self-righteous, if I can sit in my prayer chair and find something beautiful in it, then I am right with God. Now, it doesn't mean I don't listen to you guys. It doesn't mean I don't take it all into the prayer chair with me. It doesn't mean that I don't mess up. Apparently, while I was learning how to do this, talking to that camera and all of you, and trying to be a priest in the order of Melchizedek, trying to learn how to do this while being signed, I used to rattle off names really fast, and that's why I said the word that starts with the letter M that I won't repeat. You know, I'm going to mess up, guys. That's the only promise I make to you in new member orientation. I am going to do things that tick you off. Our way of handling that is to go to prayer. And if you don't get clear and to a peaceful place in your heart, you go to a practitioner. And then you go to the person you have a problem with in private. And that is our agreement in this center. And we all do our best to keep it. I will tell you that when I walked onto this platform this morning, I was fully aware that I had not written a talk. Part of it was I wrote a talk for yesterday, and I apparently can't have two talks in my mind at the same time. But I have been up for many hours now going, okay, God, you have never failed me before. You have never not given me something to say that was true. And so here I am, and I've been talking for at least 5 minutes, and so far, we seem to be doing okay. part of what we need to do is free our minds from the idea that what happens here at the level of effect is primary. It's still important. It's terribly important. What we do here is as much God as what we do in our prayer chair. What we do when we're talking to somebody at Fry's is as much a spiritual act and a prayer as what we do when we start this service, yes? Whether I'm talking to you online or whether I'm talking to you in person, whether you're watching this 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, 3 years from now, yay tech. All of it is God. And so what we do is we look at our world and say, how is God being reflected back to me? And how are my false beliefs being reflected back to me? And so I've been sitting in my chair a lot going, how is my thinking affecting the center? How is, I was raised in the military, so I don't expect relationships to last 20 years. I expect them to last till the next posting, and maybe I'll see you again. That's an old thought in my mind. I have to decide how it's serving me and what is the shadow side of it. I have talked here about Irish Alzheimer's. You guys know what that is, right? My grandmother was good at it. She forgot everything but the grudges. And I was raised to do that. I am grateful to find that I'm really bad at it. I stink at holding grudges, believe it or not. And the love that is within me, this teaching, has led me to the idea of I can take whatever is said to me and use it to become a better person. All of us have some stuff in the back of our head that may or may not be true. Our job here as religious scientists is to free our mind. As the song says, free your mind and the rest will follow. If you will focus on what is your joy, no matter what anybody else has to say about it, if you will focus on what is your good and claim it without any kind of apology, claim that, and allow those who are there to help you to help you. That would be your spiritual community. That would be your practitioners. That would be the people that you talk to. In my case, it's my sister, because she'll tell me the truth, because as far as she's concerned, I'm just Beanie, her little sister, who sometimes is a dork. And she has no problem saying, yeah, well, you set that up, didn't you? Trust the people you know to be honest with you. Trust the people you love to be honest with you, to help you clearly see what is in your world that you have created. Now, I want to get really, really clear on this point, because in our movement, we forget it. Responsibility is the ability to respond proactively. It's also Sandy's favorite word. Responsibility, we take responsibility for our lives, and when we do that, we give ourselves another superpower. When I take responsibility for everything in my world, whether it's my depression or my beautiful glass collection or my 2 cats that I serve, or the fact that my car starts every time I turn the key, that was not always true. Sometimes it was an adventure every time I got in my car. When I take radical responsibility for my life and my experience, I become powerful enough to define it. That is not the same as being to blame for things that have gone sideways. This is a teaching that requires a lot of compassion, not just for the people around you, but for yourself. It requires that you have enough love in your heart when you look in the mirror that you don't give up on you, that you don't say, well, you stink at this thing called life, and so never mind. This teaching requires a lot of loving kindness, and if you will aim it at yourself and your old idea of God so that you can heal enough to see God as it truly is rather than what we fear it is, then the blessings come raining down, apparently. When we do that, what's out here is a lot more manageable. It's easier to see God out here when we have practiced seeing it in here. Yes? When we practice seeing it in the eyes of our friends, the people we love and respect. When we practice allowing Spirit to be in charge, it's easier to shrug off the things that once upon a time might have bothered me. And so we free our mind on purpose. We free our mind, and it may not make us popular with the status quo. That is one of the warning labels I try to remember to do at the beginning of our very first class, which is Foundations. As you change, you might need to change some of your relationships. They might need to shift form. Some of them might even need to end. But I promise you, as used to be said by Fred Vogt, never has an angel left my life, but an archangel walked in. There are angels in this world, and they look a lot like humans. They look a lot like the people in this room. That's just an archetype. I'm not actually like using angel cards and stuff at home. I have. There's nothing wrong with them. But understand that when I speak of an angel, I speak of a message of the divine, a messenger of God. And that is you. And that is you. And that is you. And that is you, wherever you are and whenever you're listening to this. There is a power in the universe that is greater than we are, and we use it all the time, whether we meant to or not. The power of cause is always being filtered through our mental and emotional stuff, especially the subconscious stuff, and being made into form. That is something we just acknowledge as a natural law. You can argue with it all you want. I'll be over here waiting until you're done. Actually, I'll probably be arguing about it myself some days. We all do that. We're all on this path to try and create for ourselves a world that works for everyone. And when I say it works for everyone, we start here by practicing listening to the people who disagree with us, by listening. My mother used to say, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Now, I don't know who said that first. As far as I'm concerned, it was Peggy Kelly, my mom. I found out that some of her other sayings came from the Little Red Book written by Mao Zedong, and I stopped looking them up, because I'm not sure I want to know if that's Shakespeare or the Communist Party's manifesto. But there's wisdom everywhere, right? I can go to the sleaziest romance novel and get a sermon out of it, because God wrote that too. And I'll probably enjoy it. I probably already read it. So, we do our best. We clear our mind, and we are loving with ourselves, and overall, we trust the divine is at work, no matter what it looks like out here. Is there more? You know what? That's my talk. Let's turn this into form by going into prayer. And I pray from here so that we all remember that we are perfectly equal here. I call it praying from an equal praying field. And so in this moment, I ask you to go within and find that good, that thing you are grateful for, that God that lives within you, that thing that is all there is. That power, that presence, that good that lives within us, that power that spoke Jackson this morning, that lifted me up, that power that sang all of you as we started service, that lifts each other up. That being that lives within each and every one of us that knows exactly what it's doing and where it's going and how to get there. I know that we are all part of that it is the truth of our very soul. And so in this moment, I choose to trust it and speak my word according to my understanding of the greatness, the magnificence of the one soul, the one mind, the one power that is all there is. And I look out into this magnificent creation that has been made by the good. And I see the love, I see the power, I see the peace, and I see the abundance. I see the joy. And I know it and claim it for everyone in this room, that it is now available to all of us. That by the power of my word, any false beliefs, any old beliefs, any fears that might be in the between us and our good, they are now gone. I deny that they have any power over me. I set a new cause into action, and I know that we are all lifted up. I know and claim for all of us that there is a new day dawning, and while it might be raining right now, it's rain in the desert, people. It's a miracle in and of itself. It is this beautiful good that is now being shown to us, that is reflected in every aspect of our lives, because spirit as it truly is reflected in every aspect of our lives. And in this moment, I claim the full awareness of it and the obvious examples of it. And I rest in peace and power, knowing that God is all there is, and I let spirit get on with it. And so it is.